Hey Vine community, it's time for another video. So, today is gonna be a little bit of storytelling from me again. I'm sorry. I want to talk about hardcore and punk rock and about my history with that music. A couple of weeks ago, I did a live stream with Marty Worm and Kellen from Killing for Company, and we talked about nostalgia. And in the beginning, I showed a couple of hardcore and punk records that were uh, very important in my musical upbringing. So I think people of my age group may have a little bit of the same way they got into that. We all started to get into heavier music with about some of us 8, 9 years with Kiss. That is more the US guys. For us Europeans, at least for me, it was when I was 11 years old and I got into Iron Maiden. I moved into heavier music pretty quickly, discovered Metallica and of course Slayer, and so the story begins. First of all, in the background, a very important album for me in that style of music. The Dayglow Abortions, Feeders a Fetus. This one came out in 1986 here in Germany. It's a recording from 1985, and the B-side is a recording from 1981. So that's what's playing in the background. Canadian hardcore punks. Very important album in my history with that kind of music. So, like I said, we all got into Metallica. We saw, of course, the Misfit shirts, and we got to know them. But talking about the Misfits is, yeah, everybody can talk about the Misfits, because everybody's got a history with them. So we had a couple of friends that were older than us, and there we could ask for help. So looking at the records from Slayer or Metallica, we saw the Discharge shirts, we saw the COC shirts, we saw Dave Lombardo had a DRI shirt on. So we kept asking our friends, and they taped us that stuff. And shortly after that, we saved a little bit of money or did some little jobs here and there besides going to school. And one of the first albums I bought, because of Jeff Hanneman wore a COC shirt, Corrosion of Conformity's Eye for an Eye debut album. This is an original press from back then. Not the American version, but the British version. So we bought that. Very unusual, very raw. But we noticed something, at least for the COC stuff. Later on it became more evident, but in the beginning you could already hear a little bit of the Black Sabbath riffing and the slower parts in the music. So, and even more on the second album, Animosity. So COC was a great entry point for us. Speaking of Black Sabbath, what we're listening to in the background on here is a song called Black Sabbath, and the lyrics go like: acting like Black Sabbath is a lot of fun. Their records sound so heavy when I turn them on. I jump up and down and pretend I'm them. I can almost make the change. Sorry. I've got my glasses on and I can't read. Tony Iommi is my god. His guitar solos have been ostracized. Ozzy Osbourne is so out in space that he'd probably love me if I pissed him in his face. Yeah. So far for the Black Sabbath influences on hardcore punk. Next one. DRI. This is a compilation of their first EP with 22 songs on it. We didn't get the original, but in 1988 here in Germany we got the 22 songs and some bonus stuff on here. Great, it's fast, it's furious, it's senseless lyrics, everything we wanted. I pretended that I could speak English back then. I couldn't. I can now, but yeah. So in the late 80s, I'm sorry, we started to tape MTV shows from overseas, or we had 2 shows here in Germany, and they started to play the heavier stuff, and I saw the video for Possessed to Skate by the Suicidal Tendencies, and I fell in love with the video, I fell in love with the song. I got to my local record store and bought that one, but Possessed to Skate is not on here, but it's got a song Possessed, so I did in hindsight it was not a mistake, but I bought that one because I thought Possessed was the song Possessed to Skate. But man, oh man, is that a great record. Even more so than Join the Army. Great stuff. I Saw Your Mommy was a hit back then. Fascist Pig. Memories of Tomorrow. So fast, so furious. Another band a friend of mine recommended back then was Millions of Dead Cops, Millions of Damn Christians, More Dead Cops, whatever you want to call them. But the album I heard first was their live record, Live in the Rhineland, Live in Berlin. It's got all of their hits in a very, very, very dirty way. Their studio albums already were dirty, but holy crap. We've got 37 songs on here, so it's basically a best of live album. Pictures, and it's got all the lyrics, so yeah, I was lucky to get an import copy with a punch hole. Excuse me. This is on Destiny, and we were glad in Europe, or at least in Germany, we had the important they did record imports from the US, so we didn't have to pay import costs. Great time to grow up without the internet. Next up, so we already knew a little bit about Final Conflict and Agnostic Front, stuff like that. Damn it, there it is. So we had the Metal Hammer magazine back then in Germany. They didn't write so much about hardcore music, but they had a review of Cryptic Slaughter's Money Talks, and they gave I think it was either 1 or 2 out of 7 points, and said it's just punk noise. So, okay, got in the record shop, bought it, and was completely blown away. Money Talks is still to this day is my favorite Cryptic Slaughter album. I love Convicted, I love Streams of Consciousness, but that one, the bass tone, and Cryptic Slaughter, they were fast, they were primitive, but they had memorable songs, memorable, I know today it's a bad word, but they had breakdowns, memorable breakdowns. And the bass tone on the Cryptic Slaughter albums is fantastic. So, kaputt, damaged. Yeah, I think you Americans use the word kaputt as well. Cryptic Slaughter's Money Talks. Their bass player Blasko later on became bass player with the Ozzy Osbourne band, if you didn't know that. Even faster than that, okay, another American band, Wehrmacht, with their debut album Shark Attack. This is a little bit more serious than the second album, Biermacht. I'm from Germany, it's called Biermacht. Again, Biermacht. I don't have a beer here, but my beer is over there. Damn it. Cheers anyways. Shark Attack. Fantastic shit. Also in Germany it was US Metal Records, no, Shark Records. Yeah, there you go. They were so fucking fast, it even sounded as if you play hardcore on a 45. So still love it to that day. This is my old vinyl copy, and it's got the Rip in Tear on it, but I don't care. Great stuff. Another band I discovered through video on whatever station it was, I can't remember. I saw the Crumbsuckers with the video for the song called Trapped. I got that one from my parents for, I don't know, Christmas or birthday in 1988. This one is from 1987, I guess, or 86 even. Every song on there is a hit. It's a little bit more metallic than the other stuff. Very, very good musicians. The guitar solos on that album rule. If you haven't heard it for a long time, do yourself a favor, put it on again. Life of Dreams, still one of my favorite hardcore punk albums. Metallic hardcore, call them what you want. Everybody's got a different term for that. The song Trapped, fantastic. Why am I always scared for words? Press this on and I'm all clammed up. It's playing in my head right now, damn it. Gonna listen to that later on. I'm glad High Roller put out their demo stuff on a double LP a couple of years ago. Immediately bought it. The album Beast on My Back is not bad. The production is a little bit strange, but Life of Dreams, even the production is perfect for that kind of music. Of course, you can't avoid that. Speaking of hardcore, speaking of punk rock, we're talking UK 82. Does that ring a bell? Of course, Exploited. Still my favorite Exploited album, The Massacre. Bought it when it came out and played it over and over and over again, and to this day I still do. I had a little bit of a break with hardcore and punk, but I'm gonna talk about that soon. This is my Rough Justice copy. This is the European version. The title track alone, The Massacre, says it all. They had a very metallic sound on that already. They started to incorporate the metallic stuff on the album before, Death Before Dishonor, but they fully changed on The Massacre. Purist punks hated it, we loved it. And probably the hardcore, the purist punks hated it because we loved it. Long-haired people at exploited concerts. Yeah. So, 2 more things to show. Also very important, early recordings of Sick of It All. This is one of their demos pressed to a 7-inch, recorded in '87. This 7-inch was released in 1997. It's got all the early stuff. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 songs on that 7-inch. It's got Pete's Sake, which is a hit, Pay the Price, Push Too Far, Bullshit Society. They still play those old fuckers from time to time live. Love old Sick of It All when they were relentless. So in the in the early to mid 90s, we all, or a lot of us, changed to either not listening to music anymore and coming back later maybe, or we started to listen to some way lighter stuff, or I got into German metal a lot. B and C grade German metal, but I think you know that. And a lot of the heavier stuff when all the Entombed and Death and Morbid Angel came out. So I quit that hardcore punk for some time. But in 2002 I bought that one just out of curiosity. This is a tribute to DRI called We Don't Need Society. It's got 37 tracks, and it sparked my interest in that shit again. Great little tribute sampler. Deceased is on here, for example. Blood Red, Capitalist Casualties, The Farts, Retox, what else you might know? Total Fucking Destruction, Holy Moses is on here. So then I rediscovered all the old shit. I tried some of the new stuff, but not really for me. When it comes to hardcore punk, I'm pretty much a nostalgic guy. So that's it. Storytelling, almost 20 minutes. I have to grab my beer over there, and see you in the comments. Thanks for watching. Good night.